Let me tell you, I've seen a lot in my lifetime, but I'll never forget the day a so-called rookie in plain jeans and scuffed boots walked into our station and turned the whole place upside down, though at the time, nobody, not even the cockiest guys in the room, saw it coming. You ever have one of those mornings where you just know something's off, like there's a storm in the air, but you can't quite smell it yet? That's how it was. And I'll be honest, it started out almost funny, at least for the idiots who thought they ran the place. I'm talking about Officer Will and his sidekick John, big shots around the precinct, or so they thought, guys who loved to puff up their chests and run their mouths, especially when there was a new face to size up. And this new face, James, he looked like trouble to them, just not the kind they expected. He was older, for one thing late 50s maybe, solid build, dark skin, quiet eyes that missed nothing. Walked in like he'd been there before, which, should have been a hint. But the best part? He just smiled, nodded, kept his mouth shut, didn't give them anything to grab onto. You know what I mean? So of course Will and John go to work, making all their little jokes, bet he won't last a week. Hey old timer, you sure you're in the right place? You know the type, right? The room either laughs along or looks away. Nobody wants to get involved. James doesn't flinch, doesn't fire back, doesn't even blink. If you've ever seen a man play chess when everyone else thinks they're playing checkers, you know what I mean. A few days go by, and the pranks get a little meaner. One morning, I'm pouring myself coffee, and I hear Will, in his usual loudmouth way, invite James to the back hallway for a training exercise. It's so obvious what's coming that you almost want to warn him, but James just nods, follows them. 5 minutes later, I hear laughter reel, stupid, middle school stuff. They've taped him to the wall with caution tape. Yeah, grown men, cops, acting like kids. They think it's hilarious, snapping pictures, slapping each other on the back. And James? He just stands there, straight-backed, no yelling, no embarrassment, lets them have their fun, but you can see it in his eyes, he's clocking every second. I'm the one who walks by and cuts him down. Felt like the only decent thing to do, honestly. He thanks me, straightens out his shirt, goes back to work like it's nothing. Later that day, they pile extra paperwork on his desk, given the worst shifts, keep up with the muttered insults about soft recruits and diversity hires. The younger guys watch, but say nothing, probably wondering how long this guy's gonna last. But here's where things start to turn. See, James doesn't quit, doesn't get rattled. He just keeps doing the job, helping out when asked, staying late, quietly learning everyone's name. And meanwhile, Will and John get bolder, as if they're trying to break him just to prove they can. But every time they push, he just absorbs it. No drama, no reaction, just patience. I started wondering, who the hell is this guy? A week in, the station chief calls a mandatory meeting, says we're getting a new department head. Big news, clean slate, new leadership. The whole place is buzzing, except Will and John, who figure, as usual, nothing's changing for them. The meeting room fills up, the chief does the usual speech, and then he says, "Let's welcome Lieutenant James Miller, our new head of department." Door opens, and in walks James, same guy, they just taped to a wall, now in a crisp uniform, looking 10 feet tall, eyes sharp as razors. You should have seen Will and John's faces, mouths open, eyes wide, like they just saw a ghost. The rest of us, well, there was a kind of stunned silence. James stands there, gives this little smile, and launches into a speech about respect, unity, and what it means to wear the badge. Doesn't call anyone out by name, but he doesn't have to. "I've seen what goes on here when you think nobody important is watching," he says, "and I'm here to tell you that ends today." You could feel the mood shift, the temperature drop, like everyone suddenly realized there's a grown-up in charge. You think he went for retribution? Nah, not his style. He calls Will and John in privately. Instead of suspension, he assigns them sensitivity and leadership training, plus community outreach shifts in neighborhoods they used to mock. Says, "You want to be leaders? You start by learning what it means to serve, not just command." I actually saw Will's face go pale when he realized this wasn't just punishment, it was a chance to be better or get left behind. It worked too slowly. The whole precinct started shifting. People stopped laughing at the old jokes. Guys who used to stay quiet started speaking up. Even Will and John, after a while, came around. They started treating James with respect, and you could see, For maybe the first time in their lives, they were listening. What got me was the way James never acted like a victim, never threw their cruelty back in their faces, never lectured us like we were children. He just held up a mirror, let us see who we were when we thought nobody was looking, and then gave us a chance to do better. In time, things changed for good. New hires learned the right way. The department's whole culture shifted, and those days of mean-spirited hazing faded into a bad memory. Yeah, maybe you could call it poetic justice. The rookie everyone thought was a nobody became the leader nobody could ignore. And let's be real, every one of us needed it. So let me ask you, if you were in that room, would you have spoken up sooner? Or would you have just watched, hoping not to be next? That's the real question, right? Because every precinct, every office, every neighborhood change doesn't happen because one person flips a switch. It starts when enough people decide the old way isn't good enough anymore. So what would you have done? And what are you going to do the next time you see someone get treated like they don't belong? If you got a thought, a story, or a question about what real justice looks like, don't keep it to yourself. Share it. Speak up. Because silence, well, that's just another way of letting the bad guys win.